welcome back to hour 2 of the Charlie Kirk Show. This is probably the most exciting hour we have all week. The Ask Us Anything, Ask We Anything. We're going with different names, but it is, of course, the hour where Charlie, before us, he took questions from our subscribers. He loved doing this. He loved, he really prided himself. No matter how high he rose, he was always in touch with the core elements of the conservative Christian base. Always wanted to hear from them, and we are, of course, going to continue that tradition. And we're also joined with Danny. He was a member of Charlie's team, and he's now a member of our team here. And
that's right.
Danny. Let's dive right into it. We have Nick first. Unmute yourself, Nick. What's your question?
Hey, oh man, the last time I talked here, I was talking to Charlie, but you guys will do. You guys will do today. I just started a Turning Point USA chapter at my high school, and I was wondering, I like the meetings and all the speeches and talks we have, but I was wondering how we could get more involved with like our community, and like actually take action instead of just talking.
Yeah, well, that's great. I would say the first thing that comes to mind for me is, if the people in your chapter are Christian, or if they're believers, maybe not all of them are, but the ones who are, make sure, are they actually going to services on Sunday? Are they getting involved with things? Are they taking their stated belief, which is pretty common, especially with younger people? They'll say, yeah, I'm a Christian, maybe, whatever. But Charlie was all about taking the stated belief and making it concrete. Are you putting your stated beliefs into action? Read the Bible, going to Bible studies, going to church. That's one specific faith-related example, but maybe you guys have examples beyond that.
Nick, if I'm putting myself in your shoes, Blake had a great idea. Actually, I think it was Dino, who we just had on in the last segment. He said that they also started a Bible study in their chapter. So they'll do a chapter meeting and then a Bible study afterwards. But to get more involved, we have our school board watch list program. You could go to the school board meetings and start firing up yourself for your community and getting involved in local politics.
They would raise so many eyebrows if they had actual students show up at a school board.
That would be incredible.
Hold on, well, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah, well, let's keep them running, Nick. I'm going to hook you up with some ideas here. And then another one, too, is running for student body government. That's a big thing that we have at Turning Point USA is we equip leaders to run for student body government. So if that's something you're interested in, contact us, or you could email me if you want to. Another idea is every election season, Turning Point Action gets involved in swing states. I'm not sure what state you're in, Nick, but even if you are not in a swing state, you can call, jump on the phone, text people, and you're calling voters in Arizona and North Carolina and Ohio, whatever states we're involved in. These are just a couple of ideas. Obviously, the ideas are unlimited, really.
Yeah, when I was at Ohio State, we got connected with local restaurants, businesses. That really helps get out the vote. Stuff like that. You can really just get connected outside of campus, all those places.
Nick, I have an important question for you. Are you going to AmFest in December?
I really want to. I'm going to see if I can save up to buy a ticket. If not, maybe my mom will buy it for me, you know, but
all right. Well, we're going to try to help you get there, so we'll connect with you. But I think that's a good starter for you to just start by coming to AmFest. And there's a lot of ways to get involved there. I mean, when you're walking the exhibitor hall, you're seeing TP Academy, and you're seeing our faith program and our church program and Turning Point Action and our everything. So there's a lot of ways to get involved. So I want you to start by coming to AmFest, and we'll help get you there if you just connect with our team. And
touch grass in your community, as Gen Z would say.
Touch
like
grass.
The world is so full of people who are cloistered inside. It is a super weapon if you can do what Charlie did and just go out there and engage with the real world over and over and over again. But thank you very much for that, Nick, and best of luck with your new chapter. We're very excited to hear about that. Our next caller is going to be Christine. Christine, unmute yourself. What is your question?
Hi, guys. First of all, there is not enough words for the respect I have for Charlie and for everyone who is carrying on his torch. My question is, I've read all the websites, the TPUSA, the TPS Faith, Blexit, etc., and about the show and stuff. I read all these descriptions, but I wanted to know, are these all separate entities? Do they fall under the same umbrella? If I monetarily support one, am I supporting them all? And for those of us who aren't in college and who may be a little older and have families, how is the best way we can be involved?
Yeah. So the only way it's separate is if it's Turning Point USA is the umbrella for all of those things. So Blexit and Turning Point Academy and TPUSA Faith and our high school program, our college program, our productions program, all of that falls under that umbrella of our 501c3. The only thing that's different is our 501c4 or our PAC, which is the political arm, and that's Turning Point Action. So if you, for example, if you were to make a donation to Turning Point USA, you're supporting the mission of all of those things that you just mentioned. And so those are all connected under the umbrella of Turning Point USA. If that I think that answers your question. But how you can get better involved, I just told Nick, I just keep telling people, come to AmFest. That's the best first way to get involved. But if you want to get involved in politics, the best way is Turning Point Action. We have midterms coming up soon, and there's going to be a lot to do. Even if you are not in the state, that we are actively, doing door knocking in low propensity reach, and you can still make phone calls wherever you're from. And so for TPUSA, there's a ton of different ways to get involved. We have thousands of church affiliates. There's most likely a chapter in your community, a high school or college chapter in your community. You can get involved and support. You can actually support individual smaller chapters at Turning Point USA.
I want to flag one last thing. Also, this show is technically also separate from both Turning Point and Turning Point Action. This comes up a lot because some people ask me about Turning Point stuff. I technically don't work for them. I just work for Resolute Media, which makes this show. And
yeah, does that answer your question, Christine?
I believe it does. I guess I was looking for with that, as we give money, if we need to separate that out so we make sure everybody gets a little bit involved, or if one of your groups wasn't getting as much attention, will you, as the top tier, spread it around?
Yeah, it's always spread around when you make a donation to Turning Point USA. But if you're a donor and you make a donation, you can actually add where you want it to go to specifically. So we have donors that are saying, I only want to support TPUSA Faith with this donation. And so that actually just goes to furthering the mission or the cause of that specific department under the Turning Point USA umbrella. So
and if I may, one more quick question, Mikey.
Yeah.
You had said about local groups. I've been trying to find a local group around here. You don't have them listed on any site. And actually, when I reached out locally on our local Facebook page, I got a lot of backlash that was very negative. So it's been unfortunate. So I was hoping there will be some kind of directory so we can know in our smaller towns who is involved, so we can reach out to people who are involved around us.
Yeah. I know we just updated our website at Turning Point USA, and I think that there's a map that we just added. And so you can zoom into your region. And then we're working on adding, so our field rep, who is staff that we have hired for every certain region. Then we have general managers, regional directors. And so you can reach out to the field representatives, and that's probably the best way of communication. So we can help get you connected, Christine, and we'll make that happen.
Great. Thank you so much, guys.
Of course.
God bless.
Let's get, we'll be going through all of the breaks here, but I think we can get the question in before we go into it. So our next caller is going to be Harrison. Harrison, unmute yourself. What is your question?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, my question is, well, I'll start first. I'm a big fan of Charlie Kirk. I was always a big fan of Charlie Kirk. We lost him actually on my birthday.
Oh, man. Sorry.
And so that whole thing shook me up. And it had me asking a lot of questions. And one of these questions that I'm having to ask myself is, if Israel is such a good ally to the United States, why do our politicians need to take money in order to support that relationship? How does the money help?
Yeah.
All right. We're just powering through the breaks here. So we'll take that after radio pitch here.
We're going to pause for radio and we'll be right back.
All right. So do you want to just repeat that really quick? Because we were getting our radio throws there. You said about Israel?
Yeah, if they're such a good ally to the United States, why do our politicians need to take so much money in order to support that relationship?
Well, I don't think a lot of them do need to take a lot of money from them, but so there is certainly it has been brought up. There's like a lot of back and forth there, and some people have raised their eyebrows. I remember when we had the recess in August, and like a very large number of Republicans flew directly to like Israel as the recess was happening, and so it wasn't like, oh, they needed to immediately go and meet all of their constituents in their home states. They were instead in another country. And I know I talked to Charlie about all of this, and he was at least very aware. That was not a good PR look, and it might have been a better one in the past, but it's not. You have to signal that America comes first. Now, there are reasons that we have this alliance, that it has existed, that we've had alignment against radical Islam, and also just a lot of Americans genuinely care about that. Not just Jewish Americans, but Christian Americans, and Americans who just care about opposing Islamic militancy, 9/11 and all of that.
I mean, for me, just speaking on my own beliefs, I'm Gen Z. I've seen war my entire life. A lot of countries lobby here, and honestly, I want to stop them all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see any countries lobby in this country anymore. I'm kind of sick of it.
It's amazing how much South Korea spends a ton lobbying in the U.S. And then indirect stuff. You have people who register under FARA. You have people who should register under FARA but don't. I think what Charlie would agree, and we agree, is we do want way less influence and money from foreign countries in our government. And it's easy. It's very common for people to fixate on Israel specifically. But like Mexico was totally interfering in all of the Trump's elections. They were publishing guides on how Mexican Americans could vote. They were barely, quite unsubtly suggesting, maybe illegal immigrants, you could figure out how to vote too. And just totally weighing in. European leaders were always weighing in on these things. Tons of other foreign NGOs meddle themselves in our politics. So it is far beyond just one country in that regard.
Well, and according to open source, Israel wasn't even in the top 10 last year in foreign nations funding in American politics, which shows that, all these other countries are doing it too, which is also a problem.
Yeah. I just don't want to see any of it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I'd say that's a good thing. Let's just get all foreign money should just not be in United States politics. And I think that would lead to a lot better behavior. We're having the Rav segment here, so we should do our bit. All right, let's do that. So we got Y-Refi again. Private student loan debt in the U.S. still totals about $300 billion a year, and $45 billion of that is labeled as distressed. Y-Refi can provide you with a custom loan payment based on your ability to pay. Y-Refi is not a debt settlement company, and they work with each borrower individually, tailoring each loan to each borrower's specific situation. When Y-Refi does not care what your credit score is, when the payment on your distressed or defaulted student loan is so big that they can't ever get ahead in your finances, Y-Refi is surely your best option. Y-Refi refinances distressed and defaulted private student loans, which are different from federal loans. Many clients aren't even able to make the minimum monthly payment on their private student loans when they first contact Y-Refi. Folks, let's face it, if you have distressed or defaulted private student loans, nobody is coming to bail you out, and bankruptcy is currently not an option, but you can take charge over your situation by contacting Y-Refi. Can you imagine being debt-free and not living under this burden anymore? The first step is contacting Y-Refi. If you go to yrefi.com, you can read testimonials from other people who have been where you are and how they have escaped. You can even see what their monthly payments were in the past versus what they are now. Y-Refi offers a 3-minute rate check without any credit impact, and bad credit is accepted. If you have a co-borrower, Y-Refi can get them released from the loan, and you can give mom and dad a break. You can even skip a payment every 6 months, up to 12 times, without penalty. You don't have to ignore the mountain of student loan statements on your kitchen table anymore. Call 888-YREFI34 or log into yrefi.com. That is YREFY.com. May not be available in all 50 states. We're just continuing through our AMA here. I guess we have 30 seconds till radio rejoins. So do we have any other thoughts on either foreign money or on student loan debt?
Yeah, I mean, back to what I'm saying is I don't really want to see any country involved. That's the biggest thing here. But then also AIPAC, right? AIPAC, American Israel PAC. That's run by American Jews, just so that we're clear. So it's not actually Israel necessarily getting involved. But either way, I don't want to see any foreign influence lobbying our country. I just don't want to see it. And I think you guys agree with me.
100%. Yeah. We're still okay. We're still getting used to going through breaks here. Doesn't matter. All right. Andrea is our next caller. Andrea, unmute yourself and welcome. Thank you for being a subscriber.
Thank you. I just wanted to offer all of you my condolences. It's been a really difficult time, but you guys have just done an amazing, amazing job. Very inspiring. My question for you is that I recently moved to Virginia, and I'm wondering if there's any kind of a ground game. I haven't really heard anything about it. And similar to your previous caller, was just wondering how I might be able to get involved with the TP action out here in Virginia.
Man, we were going to have Tyler Boyer on this hour originally, and it would have really helped because Tyler runs Turning Point Action.
Yeah.
He would have the point-by-point detail on all of that.
Everything
now, my understanding is originally we were not super heavily involved because we shepherd our resources for what's most winnable, but now Virginia has, in the last couple of weeks, become much more winnable, especially in that AG race. So I unfortunately do not know that off the top of my head. I have actually messaged Tyler at this moment to please send me any details, and if we can get more of them even later in this hour, I'll be sure to read them out. Do you know anything about that, Mikey?
I know the mobile app, TP Action has a mobile app, which is very helpful. I know we all used it on the ground game during last year's election. You can start there, and you can literally text and call people in your area to help get out the vote.
Yeah. I know that Blake said it. The AG race in specifically has become a big, possibly winnable race in Virginia, and so I'm not entirely sure the specifics that Tyler might have in terms of what we may be doing on the ground game. I know that there is a ground game there, and so how to get plugged into that, I think it's best. Turning Point Action makes a statement, kind of saying how you can get involved, how you can help there. So that's probably the best next step. I know that we're probably going to be putting something together to text and call voters. We typically do that always with states where you can call voters to get out the vote and get involved. And so that's basically what we have right now for Virginia.
Yeah. And
how are you feeling about the governor's race? It would just be such a huge shame if we lost out on that.
Yeah, it is a shame. We'll be frank. Charlie was always very honest. The polling there is further apart. It is a more challenging race.
Yeah,
it's been pretty far apart. Most of it, you have to keep in mind, Virginia has become a blue state these past 20 years. It has voted for a Democrat every election since 2008. It's also the state, a ton of federal employees. It's probably been hit by Doge harder than any other state. It's being affected by the shutdown probably harder than any other state, maybe Maryland accepted. Mm-hmm. And that's going to create a challenging environment no matter what. Yeah. It's also a state, it's a high income area, those suburbs around Washington.
Yep.
And you know what high income people in Washington really like? They like hiring illegal immigrants to do stuff at their homes. And so a lot of those people are angry that President Trump is trying to change our reliance on illegal immigrants. I know, I've seen this. I've gotten texts from people in the DC area about this, where the prices of all of these services you can buy has gone way up because a lot of them are clearing out. And so all of that is going to have a political impact. Now, back to your original question, that does make the race tough, but thanks to this deranged lunatic they have up for AG, both the races have gotten a lot more competitive. And until we can get more of that action stuff, I would encourage you, if for example, if you're at a church, make sure the people in your church are aware this is coming up. Talk to them. Did you see what this Jay Jones guy said? You'd be amazed how out of the loop a lot of people are. They're just not. They're not watching the news. They're not watching this show. They're not hearing about it. And a lot of people want to make sure they don't hear about it. You can change that and make sure that they vote. You don't need an app to make sure that happens. You don't need an app to make sure your friends and family and parishioners and your, the parents of your kids' friends and all of that. You don't need all of those things to be able to talk to those people. But we'll definitely have Tyler on ASAP to give more information on what our plans are in that race. And we've got a month to sprint to the finish here. Yeah.
Thank
Make it
you.
work. Thank you so much, Andrea. Our next question is Chris. I think we can fit in. We have about 45 seconds, Chris. If we can try to fit in your question, then we'll answer it out of the break. Are you there, Chris?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. What's your question?
Well, I've noticed that many believers in my church now agree that the church, the big church, has become too comfortable and risk averse. But a lot of us are really unsure on like the first practical steps that pastors or lay people can take to move on from this passive faith to like active conviction in their communities.
Yeah. I know that speaking so my dad's a pastor and
you may have seen him at the memorial.
Yeah, he spoke at the memorial. So my dad, he got in big trouble for opening his church during COVID. And so I would love to speak about this. We're going to pause for the break, and then right out of the break, Chris, we're going to answer your question. And thanks so much.